tonight's redraft, we're going to be doing one of the best NBA drafts of all time, the 1996 NBA draft. Now, if you don't know the draft class, don't look it up. Do not look it up until I'm finished. You can figure it out for yourself later on if you want. So, anyways, make sure you drop a like on tonight's video. I would very much appreciate it. And also subscribe to the channel for all the randomness that I post on this channel. And also maybe comment down below maybe who you would pick at the end of this video as your #1 pick, or maybe who would you want on your favorite team, maybe right now, all time, who's the best in this draft class. Would be a lot of fun. So sit back, relax, lie down, get nice and cozy, and let us get started. Alrighty. And also let me know down in the comments if like this is like a bad lighting area, if this doesn't look good or not. As you guys know, I'm trying to do different things with how my videos look as of recently, and it doesn't look good. Definitely let me know down in the comments. But anyways, with the number 10 pick, if you guys don't know, we always do the top 10, top 10. Let's see if I can imagine the middle-ish somewhere around here. I haven't done one of these in such a long time too, so sorry if my handwriting is really bad. I don't do a lot of handwriting in my real life. I do everything pretty much online like everyone else there does, so sorry if this is like kind of bad. I need to move this over a little bit more, but we'll figure that out later. With the number 10 pick, let's see who actually had that pick in the 1996 NBA draft. It was the Indiana Pacers had this pick back in 1996. The original pick was Eric Dampier. No idea who that is. No offense to him. But with the new number 10 overall pick for the Indiana Pacers, and by the way, this isn't based off of like actual the Indiana Pacers pack of 1996. This is just, you know, my top 10, you could say. And again, all these players are great. They're a lot of them Hall of Famers, legends in the game. My opinion is wrong, stupid, dumb. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. So this video is just for entertainment purposes. But for number 10, I think I'm gonna go with actually a legend of a player who's definitely known for being a great defensive player, and that's going to be at number 10. Oh, that was almost a mess up. Oh my goodness, see, I told you guys I have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. That's a C, by the way, if you can't see that. But Marcus Camby at number 10. For some people, this might be too low. For me, just opinionated, I guess you could say. Marcus Camby, I know, led the league in blocks for like literally like 5 or 6 times in the NBA. Absolutely insane defender. Also won Defensive Player of the Year. Just a literal defensive beast. That was mostly it. I mean, his best scoring season was actually, I think, his rookie year, which is pretty crazy to think about. It was 15 points per game. So 15 points per game was his best, and that was actually his rookie season. But maybe, let's just say, maybe a team that was maybe more built around him offensively maybe could have done something with him, but he was mostly just like a barely 10-point per game scorer. Couldn't really hit free throws, but for defending, an amazing defender, one of the best as a center, you could say, maybe in league history. But that's really it. So I put him 10. He could probably go 8 or 9, probably at the highest at his peak. But I think sort of around this area is a really good spot for him. Again, I really enjoyed watching him play. He played for Portland for a couple years, so again, my own opinion, I guess you could say. But Marcus Camby, definitely a legend when it comes to that. Going up to number 9 now. Number 9 is actually a player that maybe not a lot of you would know by name. I don't even know if Marcus Camby is sort of a well-known name in today's NBA. If you just kind of started watching, this is going to be a long name, so we're going to see what happens. But with the 9th pick, I'll tell you who got it after I say who I'm doing. F. And we're really gonna try to fit his entire name on here. A, it's a B, D, U, R, Yes, for a lot of people out there may not know, this guy was an all-star 1 year in the NBA and also made the all-rookie team this year. For Sharif, actually a pretty decent NBA player, averaging 18 points per game his entire career. His best point per game average was actually his third year in the league, averaging 23 points per game. Pretty fire. Sharif was actually sort of like a do-it-all type of player. The most assists he ever averaged in a season was 3. 1 year he actually averaged 10 rebounds, which is actually pretty insane. But, just a typical sort of wing player in the NBA. Didn't really take a lot of threes, but not a lot of players did back then, but did have a pretty efficient field goal percentage when you think about it, averaging about, you could say, 50 his entire career, which is pretty nice. So your typical NBA forward of the late 90s, early 2000s, not too bad. He would definitely be like a stretch 4 in today's NBA, I would believe. And again, averaging about 20 his entire career, being an all-star, may be more valuable than just a defensive center, but then again, maybe a team more well-rounded around Marcus Camby maybe could have projected him into a better sort of all-around player, not just a defensive monster. Sharif more of a do-it-all wing, which we all know and love in today's NBA, so I'm going to pick him at number 9. Coming in at number 8, which maybe I probably should put Marcus Camby up at number 9. Sharif is a great player, but yeah, having that Defensive Player of the Year award under his belt, I feel like might, I don't know, be more valuable than what I'm thinking, but then again, only averaging about like 8 points per game is not the best. Anyways, number 8. Oh yeah, by the way, let's see who actually had that pick. It was the Dallas Mavericks. Oh wow, so that would have been Dallas. Interesting. And then now we're at pick number 8, who were the New Jersey Nets. Whoa. I'm just gonna go with my gut. Any of these players can probably flip-flop around, but at number 8, I'm gonna go PH, right? Yep, PH. Oh no, that's gonna hit the thing. Oh no. And move that back in there. Hopefully this isn't sideways or anything. Or when I'm doing this, hopefully it's not out of focus. I'm gonna check that real quick. But it's Stefan Marbury, by the way. If you could already guess, Stefan Stefan Marbury. Now again, I know Stefan Marbury literally had his own shoes. He's probably the greatest basketball in China's history. You could probably argue Yao Ming, but actually playing basketball, Stefan Marbury is a goat over there. He has his own movie in China about playing basketball. It's just the only thing about Stefan Marbury is that he was a very, just basically like a scoring guard. He didn't really impact the game like a star should have, which is maybe the biggest sort of nag on Stefan Marbury, is that he was never really on like any like extraordinary teams for how much of a talent he was, you could say. But he was a great talent though. Between the year 1999 to 2005, over the 7-year stretch, he averaged nearly 22 points per game, 8 assists, and about 45% from his field goal percentage, which is good for a, again, ball handling scoring guard. But again, maybe just not the most efficient, well, efficient as a way as, and like, didn't really do anything as a point guard for his team, you know what I mean? Maybe if he had a little bit more success here and there, and also he kind of fizzled out of the NBA pretty fast. He had a couple of good stretches nonetheless, but they didn't really get anywhere with him, which is kind of sad. So I think he's a great individual talent, but nothing that's really going to be, impacting a team, at least from what I've seen and reading from articles and stuff. Stefan Marbury, great. It could even be higher up on the list, but I have a player at number 7 that is a very interesting player that is definitely one that maybe even controversial. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see. But we have a player at number 7. Let's see who picked number 7 in the draft. This would be the Los Angeles Clippers during this time period. guys aren't judging my handwriting too much, but hey, that's just how it is on this channel if you're new here. Yeah, like I said, Pedro Strikovich, man, what a three-point sniper. Oh my goodness. For periods of time, he's averaging, plus 20 points per game. He has shot 40% on three-pointers at even one point in time, hitting over 50% on two-pointers as well. Super efficient score, which is awesome. It's basically a perfect stretch four, you could say, a three-point shooting big, 6'10" as well, big body. He's a three-time All-Star, won a championship in 2011, which was the Dallas Mavericks, I'm pretty sure, which did not know he was on that team, totally forgot about that, and also made the All-NBA team as well. 13 years in the NBA, Pedro Strikovich, one of the best shooters of all time. You could definitely argue Marbury over him for sure. I mean, you could probably even Marcus Camby could probably argue all the way up there at 7. Doesn't really matter. Again, these are all again opinionated, and my opinion is wrong. But I think this is good for now. I think the best probably individual talent is definitely Stefan Marbury. This guy was a star basically. But if we're talking about everything about the player, I think Pedro having that again shooting ability it makes him super valuable. So that's why I'm gonna go with him at 7. Coming in at number 6 already. We're doing this pretty nice and fast. By the way, if you can hear my neighbors, I very much do apologize, but it's very late right now, and I'm kind of just, I'm going with it. If you guys can hear them, maybe it's just some background noise for you, but it's very annoying for me, I can tell you that. But coming in at number 6, and this again is a very tough player to place because in his NBA career, at the start, he looked like a very solid role player, maybe a lot of upside, this and that. It was kind of hard to pick and choose where this person would be at the end of his career, and it turned out to be a very good player. And he was kind of, I don't want to say wasted away a couple years, but definitely if he started his career somewhere else, probably could have been very different. But at number 6, we have here Jermaine O'Neal. No, I don't think he was related to Shaq, if I can remember. I don't think he was, but if he was, I do apologize, but I don't think he's related to that man. But pretty dominant as a big man nonetheless, Jermaine O'Neal. Now, Jermaine O'Neal's career averages are only 13 points per game, which again, like I said before, didn't really have the best career all around, but man, at his peaks, pretty wild. 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA team member, and also won the 2001-2002 Most Improved Player Award. Pretty awesome. Like I said before, in Portland, his first 4 years in the NBA only averaged, at his best, 4 points per game, which is wild. As soon as he leaves Portland to Indiana, puts up career averages of 20 points, 20.1 points, 24 points per game. You can definitely see where it sort of shifted as, oh wait, this guy actually was a great talent, but wasn't really used properly, and when he was, he boomed. And I think that's why, even as an offensive player, a defensive player, I mean, he averaged 2.3 blocks, 2.3 blocks, 2.6 blocks, 2.0 blocks, so many blocks, so many steals, rebounds as well, pretty much a do-it-all. Power forward in that sort of day and age, which was a perfect sort of like beat him down post-move type player. Jermaine O'Neal was pretty great, so I'm going to go with him at number 6. This next player is a Hall of Famer, which if you don't know this, and his 1996 NBA draft is absolutely stacked with talent, but this guy, maybe one of the most underrated big men of all time when it comes to defense. This is actually going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves pick in that draft. The number 5 pick went to Minnesota that year. I kind of want to see who they drafted actually. If it's a spoiler, I won't say. Oh, it's a spoiler, I can't say, never mind. Okay, number 5. It's kind of funny because they're kind of right next to each other. Or if we're talking defensive bigs of all time, Marcus Camby for sure, but obviously we need to talk about Big Ben Wallace. Yes, Ben Wallace of the Detroit Pistons, going in at number 5. Yes, I just nagged Marcus Camby a lot about being only sort of like a defensive center, not a lot of scoring there, but Ben Wallace was on a different level on that. Ben Wallace could guard 1 through 5. He looked like even at one point in time he could even put on a show Wallace is basically not going anywhere. So great job for Ben Wallace in his career. Multiple, I think he led the NBA in rebounding so many years, and also I think blocks a couple times as well. So Ben Wallace, a champion, NBA Hall of Famer, number 5. I think that's pretty good. That's why I don't want to put him any lower. I don't think maybe talent-wise you can maybe argue some of these guys, but I think pretty much this whole section of guys you could probably flip-flop around. I think Ben Wallace is where it ends for, hopping people over, at least in my own opinion. You could have your own. Then up next for the number 4 overall pick. Wow. Number 4 overall pick was actually the player that was picked right here at number 5. So if you know the lore of the 96 draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves actually drafted this player, but ended up trading him to another team. And that player just happens to be, at one point in time again, the best shooter in NBA history. That is Ray Allen. Yes, Ray Allen, drafted by Minnesota, traded later to the Milwaukee Bucks. Do I need to say anything about Ray Allen? 2-time champion, 2-time All-NBA team member, 10-time All-Star, a member of the top 75 player listing that was just announced a handful of months ago. Wow, Ray Allen, a beast, not only in his Boston Celtics days as, again, the greatest shooter in NBA history during that time period, and basically a player that could light you up, pretty much like a Klay Thompson type player where if he gets hot, it's a kind of a GG. You kind of just have to wait and see what happens. You kind of have to wait and hope that he misses. But as a member, as a Milwaukee Bucks, this man was a dunking phenom. All I ask, if you haven't seen Ray Allen dunking highlights, I beg that you go watch Ray Allen dunking highlights. Absolutely insane player. Let's actually see where his best career averages are. Wow, 25 points per game, 26 points per game. I think that's in Seattle, yeah. His later days in Seattle when he was the man in Seattle. Absolutely amazing. Now he did have to give up a lot going to the Boston Celtics, averaging 26 points per game, to the next season on Boston averaging only 17. Winning a championship, being known as a great team, takes a lot of sacrifice, and he did take a lot of sacrifice. This dude could have probably went on to average 30 points per game if he wanted to, but took himself as the third wheel of a great team and won himself a title, which is amazing. So definitely deserved. Okay, now we're in a top 3. These top 3 guys are, and maybe a league of their own, no offense to Ray Allen, but immense talents. And ranking them is impossible, but I'm going to try. And number 3 is a guy that may stir some feathers, but at number 3, I have Steve Nash. And I know you're thinking, holy cow, Steve Nash, that's crazy. Steve Nash, yes, I love Steve see this. Allen Iverson. So yeah, Allen Iverson over Steve Nash. This isn't like an all-time listing thing. This isn't just like, oh, do I think Allen Iverson is better than Steve Nash thing. This is just, individually, Allen Iverson is an amazing player. He can score, he can assist. He was even a pretty scrappy defender. He was almost a do-it-all type of point guard. Steve Nash, you could argue, and I'm only saying this, you could argue was a very systematic point guard. Could he have done more? Probably yes. But Allen Iverson, anywhere, would have been an elite guard, leading also one of the worst teams in NBA history to an NBA Finals, which is insane. Only losing to, again, the Kobe, Shaq, Laker phenom team. If it was maybe any other team in the Western Conference that year, Allen Iverson probably would have led that team all the way to a title. He is a Hall of Famer, 11-time All-Star, led the league in scoring 4 times, 3 times led the league in steals, 7-time All-NBA team member, 2-time All-Star Game MVP, Rookie of the Year, MVP, member of the 75th anniversary team as well. Yes. And another thing about Allen Iverson is what he would do, just breaking down defenders, and like I said before, being a scrappy defender, leading the league in steals so many years. He put up numbers like 28 points, 31 points, 31 points, 30 points, 33 points. He was an MVP, and again, leading that team to the NBA Finals, also an insane feat. I just think individually, maybe just had a little bit more to give. But even then, maybe if you had a perfect system like around Steve Nash, maybe you believe that. Maybe you put him 2. It doesn't matter. I think top 3. These guys are interchangeable. I don't think they go any lower than that. But there's a guy number 1 that we might all know. Let's see here. At number 1, is one of the GOATs in NBA history. Kind of a controversial one, by the way. There was just like a Twitter feud I just saw on Twitter. I think he was trending at some point because people were arguing where he was in the NBA standings all time. And that's Kobe Bryant. Yes, Kobe Bryant, the best player in the 1996 NBA draft, at least in my own opinion. With Kobe Bryant, I mean, I don't know, I feel like we all know Kobe. I feel like just saying Kobe number 1, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, no doubt. He is in the Hall of Fame, 18-time All-Star, led a league in scoring 2 times, 5-time NBA champion, 15-time All-NBA team member, which might be his best accolade in my opinion. 15 times in his career was on the All-NBA team. Also was only a 1-time MVP, which definitely, by the way, Steve Nash's MVPs, Kobe, Shaq, probably each could have won an MVP. Never mind about that though. 2-time Finals MVP as well during his NBA title run, and also 12-time All-Defensive Team member. Kobe locking down on both ends. Oh my goodness, man. He did so much in his NBA career. It's insane. Now again, not a lot of people really know where to put Kobe Bryant all time. He's definitely top